Well, ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
Hello, hello, hello.
Folks, today in Orsha East, we have ourselves a proper matchup. Who do we have today, sir?
Left hand side in the blue, we have Tana playing Toulon with Maverick Income. Right hand side in red, we have Farid playing 43rd Reserve Army with a Maverick Income.
I mean, SU-152, so if we go to C-phase, this is going to get real ugly for Toulon.
Yeah, that's a few self-propelled guns. Just a few well, actually 43rd had a lot of stuff in reserve, you could say.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could have something pithy to come back to that, but no, it's the easiest way to say it. It was going to get brutal very, very quickly. And plus, you have to just laugh at Toulon, where they're like, "Yeah, we have a 47mm Italian anti-tank gun. That's fun."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's enough to kill a half track.
And then just looking at his initial deployment here, this is interesting. We're seeing Farid go really more heavy down south with just a whole menagerie of Soviet stuff.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, there's an early Flak 38 over here, so the 105, not quite of the same 88 fame, but don't let that fool you. The thing is still quite deadly, which is why that Zis 3 I think is going to try to start taking out. No, he's going for the MG42 instead. I think that's a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, and the 105 is getting suppressed very quickly, though. So he is going to be ineffective for a bit, which is going to give Farid a good amount of time to push up, because the only other anti-tank fire support here are Panzer 39Hs.
Yeah, that's cool.
Good luck. Good luck.
Kind of the weird thing for me is that Toulon really doesn't have, well, really anything in my mind. I mean, it's the catch-all division. It's the catch-all everything. And you're like, this is adorable. You have some good stuff here. You got some good stuff there. But it definitely never really feels like a division that you're able to kind of put an entire attack together around. You know what I mean?
You could say it's a defense division. I was trying to say it in German, but that's not going to work. But no, in regards to defense, you just set up the anti-aircraft guns, anti-tank guns, and you got a lot of pretty damn good infantry. But just the way Farid is attacking, kind of like those combined arms with his tanks and infantry, he's doing decent and really just hitting an area which I think Tana wasn't too prepared for, because he needs some more anti-tank here to deal with these Soviet mid-range armor.
Yeah, and I don't know that he's definitely going to be getting that. I mean, at best, he's going to have maybe a couple of those anti-air kind of double-purpose guns over here, but his own stuff's not going to be able to stand up to it, not even by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and this is very good maneuvering here from Farid. There's also just the opportunity of the 105 being completely pinned, that's allowing him to completely destroy his infantry squad using the SUs. Just a really just good force mix here. This is surprisingly going very well for him.
It certainly is. It certainly is. We are seeing early air power coming down to get a machine gun in the south here, but still, I think Tanner's on his back feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially down south. And he hasn't really been able to exploit anywhere else. He's actually, okay, I take it back a little bit. He's exploiting up north.
Yeah.
It's slow, but he's playing too long. He can't be too picky. And he's getting all those 39Hs, which actually up north in the forest will perform quite well. That could be a good victory here. Get up, like we've seen last week, get up in that forest, and hopefully this time set up a good anti-tank line to just shut that area down. I mean, Toulon is good in the defense. They should be able to pull that off.
Yeah, but you got to get past A phase first. And yes, we are going to see this as Maverick, but you got to be able to bite and hold and stay there. And to me, I don't know. I feel like that's the area that Toulon is great on paper. Like, yeah, we can hold as much as you need us to, but you got to get the territory first.
Mm-hmm. And he's losing a lot of that territory just in the center. Farid is continuing to put in pressure really in Tanner's weak points here. It's still not a whole lot in the center as well. Tanner's really just kind of holding to that little edge of the town now. I think Farid's just going to try and pop that bubble. And that could really go nasty, because losing that hill position is kind of irrecoverable on this map.
It really, really is. And I'm looking down and around and trying to say, okay, is there any other anti-tank you brought on? And there isn't. None. Just absolutely none. So I don't really know exactly what, Tanner's expecting to see out of here, especially as that Resveta comes on in with recon optics. That's going to be really, really hard to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting an Nara, so he has Marder runs available, but he really, like, down south is more anti-tank, pack gun, pack 40 gun territory, so he's just completely out of position here, and RSR is gonna take route to the end of A phase to get anywhere in the front.
Yeah. Yeah. And frankly, the second that, the IG-33 is putting fire on that ZIS-3, but the second that he pokes his head out, there's going to be 3 or 4 different vehicles all engaging him, including the first of the Su-122s, which is just, as everyone knows, a very, very bad thing to be kind of taking shots from.
Mm-hmm. And we're just seeing Farid, he's also just, keeping up the pressure. He isn't stopping his attack. I mean, he's got a lot of Chernos, which aren't great infantry, but he has fire support to back him up, so it actually works very well in this sort of engagement, as long as there's no other fire support shooting at the Chernos. They work very well as this reconnaissance by being shot at.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to say that they're really, really great so long as someone's actually fighting them. But that's kind of the sentiment, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. They don't want to be fighting either, Khan. Let's be real.
That's that's fair. Yak 9B to the northern side, desperately trying to go and stem the bleeding here, but unfortunately, the rounds that he delivers not as stellar as you might hope.
Oh. And Tanner at least is going to pretty easily solidify up north. I don't think Farid is really too concerned with losing that. At least it's going to give Tanner, prevent Tanner from losing more in the +2 points bleed. And the center is actually going quite bad here for Tanner. The French tanks obviously not really holding up to snuff. And the German infantry, I mean the U-boat troops are bloody excellent. But when you don't have fire support backing you up, they're not excellent.
No, they aren't. Again, shockingly enough, that the bright moment over here for Tanner is his air power, who's been very, very effective on taking out the occasional position here or there. Unfortunately, taking out in a single position or two does not victory make.
No, it doesn't. We've seen more Italian pack guns being brought into the center. If you can unload them, I mean, they can deal with the half tracks at least. T-34s, even at super close range, are going to be a little bit difficult, but he can't be picky at this point. He just needs to start blowing up some bloody tanks.
Yeah, and for some reason, the pack, the 47 mils over here are like, you know what? Let's engage everything on the bottom side of the map. That's a perfect idea. I don't know. If I'm seeing a rolling death box coming towards me, I don't think I'd really be super excited about engaging stuff that's 700 meters away in the other direction. But yeah, I'm trying to think of the bright moment over here for Tanner, but right now he's getting kicked in the teeth.
Yeah, this is just speed, violence, and momentum here from Farid. He's even getting into the opposite hill here, getting close to the 105. The Chernos are not going to be enough. I think his push is probably going to get stopped, but still just putting in that pressure on Tanner. And then even just far down south, good God, he's just making plays all over the place.
He absolutely is, which is one of those kind of weird things with the 43rd, is that you don't expect to see that in the early A phase for them. They're not really, we're talking over here on, really about this match, looking at Toulon as being the bite and hold match. But you don't really think of the 43rd Reserve Army as being like, yeah, guys, we're gung-ho, we're going to seize a ton of territory either. I don't really see this as being a rolling attack kind of division.
Yeah, it's honestly not that bad, because it has a good amount of just, like, it's a assortment of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's an assortment of stuff. He has all the cheap fire support vehicles, the T-34s, the half-tracks, just a little, petri dish, not petri dish, the meat dish, right? We have it all on the fancy plate.
Charcuterie?
Yeah, what you said. You just have a bit of that all over. And especially against Toulon, where they don't really have this anti-tank, he can just kind of afford to throw, it's a T-34 here, an SU-122 here, there's this 3 over here. And it works. And it's working really well.
Yeah, I'm really, really quite surprised by that. I mean, northern side, we're actually seeing a reserve push of 5 units of Chernos being brought on in. And again, like you said, they don't even have to do anything. They just have to just kind of get shot at and die. As elsewhere on the map, more and more territory gets seized. And frankly, we're in these tiny pockets where it looks like the Battle of the Bulge in reverse here.
center's just completely collapsing here for Tanner as well. It's going to get the BF-109s up north, trying to deal with the Yak. If they can turn around and engage. They still have their bombs, so they're going to be a little bit slower in the dogfight.
Yeah, but a 2-on-1 should be achievable for them. It just unfortunately looks like they're just not going to have the speed, or the agility for that matter, to engage. There we go, at long last.
Oh, but Lagyo comes in, gets a crit kill, and we've got the 85mm from Farid.
Not what I expected by any stretch of the imagination. Oh my gosh, and when I wasn't looking over here, he's off the hill on the western side of that big head hill. The Maros are getting pushed back. You know, and that was another thing too. I was thinking about it before. Bringing Maros into a position where they're not knife fighting, and you have no means to encourage someone to knife fight, just seems like a recipe for disaster. Maybe I'm incorrect on that.
No, he was trying to get him into a position, but he just got caught off guard because this is a match of fire support pretty much. This is Rai Tanner's loss. He just does not have, you know, infantry guns, half tracks, just cheap, not H-39 tanks to provide fire support. He has really good infantry, Toulon, but if you don't have anything to back him up, we're seeing it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because we've seen Toulon do decent, especially around about release here, but really seems like 43rd is their kryptonite.
Yeah, which is not what I expected to be seeing really overall, but I think a big piece of that is, like you said earlier on, early anti-tank capability for Toulon doesn't exist. Not anything consistent anyway. At best, you can call in those 5 Stogs, but after A, I mean, he's not bringing anything else in. There's no possible way to bring in any other tanks. And we are very much in those dog days of, you know, going to be here, so.
Yeah, probably. I think also as well as getting that 105 down south at the start, because that is a rather hefty investment. Probably investing a little bit more safely, getting a couple RSOs or a couple Marder runs instead, so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket in terms of anti-tank. It also at the same time, Farid just came in pretty unexpected, just pushing in that hard down south. Usually everyone pushes hard into the center or north at the start of the match. That's the most popular areas to go.
Also kind of makes sense when you think about it though too, because Farid has the vehicles to actually go and play in areas like the south, which yes, it's got its fair share of forests, but there's also a lot of light forest here too. So you don't have the same kind of death trap that you see by throwing, you know, armored fighting vehicles into that northern kind of choke point.
We are seeing Tanner, you know, start to build up a decent fire support force now. The RSOs, the Stugs. Fortunately for the RSOs, he doesn't have to track along half the map anymore, as the front line has really come towards Tanner's spawn point here. And at long range, these RSOs and Stugs can effectively defeat a lot of Farid's tanks currently. The C-34s and SU-122s aren't exactly great in the open ground engagements, but the problem is after you kill Gem, you still have to, you know, put slug infantry, like bloody, I'm trying to get the LRS tool out now, like 700,000 meters or so to get to the other side.
Yeah, it's like the worst knock joke or like chicken and road kind of joke ever. Is that being a foot slogger in this is just, first of all, so slow, and second of all, just really, well, it's not gonna be pretty. Let's just put it that way.
And down south, you know, like
please.
Time is actually gaining back territory here, because it's all just Chernos holding the front line, not good infantry. He's winning this and he's pushing it back.
Especially with the Brandenburgers. So the Brandenburgers, probably the lone really, really bright spot over here in this kind of anti-communist shove. But I don't know, I mean, I think this is only, like you said, because it's Chernos. Anything more sturdy than that, and I think it would get awful very, very quickly. And I think bringing the Yak 9B to kind of shut this push down is the right call, for one. And I think the other point here is just, okay, all I have to do now is just reassess, shift my position around, and have my double Maxim or SG-43s to start to engage. And you can see right now, Brandenburgers can't do anything against 3 heavy machine guns.
Yeah, it's a pretty nasty position. He really needs to bomb it, get the fire support, because Tanner does have an opportunity to recapture the southern side and then try to recapture the farmstead, as he can kind of hit it from multiple angles here. But once again, he has really good infantry, and in the forest fights, by God, he kills. But once there's a couple machine guns on the field, he doesn't have anything currently to deal with it. All his fire support is very much set up in the center, and I would say he was slowly actually making it back a bit, but all of a sudden it's a 16-8 and... Oh, 18-6, and that's because the North has fallen. Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. You can see right now we have Russian planes just flying cap, and there's nothing that can really be done about it. I'm still waiting. Also, we have this 152. It says he's shooting, but I don't see any, like, arcing shells or anything. So this is... There we go. Long last. And might be able to hit the 85, but yeah.
It's actually... Honestly, the match feels like Momentum Riser is starting to turn into Tanner's favors here. Like, he is trading efficiently now. He has a pretty scary force. He's got the artillery, which he desperately needs to deal with those anti-aircraft guns, and he kills it. But the problem is Farid has done so good in the early game now, and he's still putting in the pressure in those, reek flag points. Yet he's, long term I don't think he would win, but it's not going to get to long term. This match is going to be over in 2.5 minutes if it keeps up at this rate.
Exactly. Though we are going to see a couple of flags probably flip over here without too much trouble. Especially as so many of the Chernos are kind of committed to snuffing out this Kriegsmarine Pioneer that's in the northern side. There'll be just enough time for another Pioneer squad to kind of come in with sharpshoots and pick up maybe a couple flags to kind of stave off rapid defeat. And in the center, Maro's at long last able to get in with those Berettas and doing El Duce's work. I mean, like, really, really well done on that.
And you've got the Brandenburgs as well, a whole platoon of them. They're going to be able to get up into the hillstead, or the edge of the hill, without getting shot by the fire sports, which is good for him. But once he crashed that hill, it's not going to, especially not going to be pretty now as an IS-2 and a whole bunch of other tanks.
True, but like you said, he's not trying to win the entire front here immediately. He's just trying to stave off imminent defeat. And he's slowly doing that.
He can pretty much buy a lot of territory for time. Like, he can afford to lose a lot of ground, because he gains a lot of it early on.
This is fair. But 16-8 over here, ooh, jeez. You see all of those things just kind of kick back in, and the first squad up comes over the ridge. Just gets obliterated.
Yeah, it's really just an execution squad, yeah. The 152 really needs to start getting some shells into that lob to try to dissuade him from being so close together. Too bad, does he have off-map? He does have off-map available, and honestly, if you want to get back into a hill, a good off-map strike would probably do it.
Speaking of the devil.
There we go. Oh, it's 340. I forgot, it's the really big I want everything dead guns.
It is, but also let's recall that they can be very hit or miss, and I don't mean that to be funny. But 30 seconds from now, we'll see how this goes.
Yes. Once again, it's going to be 30 seconds, and Tanner only has 2.5 minutes left to live, so once again, it's just slowing him down. And down south, like, Tanner hasn't really been able to capitalize on those early victories here down south. He's kind of stagnated, and we're seeing Farid doing a little bit of a cavalry charge, once again, perfectly around Tanner's root point here, just to try to cause a little bit of havoc.
I'm waiting for the havoc to drop over here in 4 seconds in the meantime. Especially as a lot... Oh, geez. All the Soviet vehicles have been coming on forward. If that 134 can hit anywhere in that, that could be brilliant. But no, the first rounds drop long. And again, I mean... A lot of stress. A lot of Sturm, a lot of Drang, but not a lot of dead.
No. God damn, those explosion effects. That's a big gun, and I cannot lie. These other guns cannot deny.
Gustav comes in with an itty-bitty caliber.
Yeah, not being able to stress them out has really screwed them over here, because they're still operational, they're still flinging rounds down range. And Tanner's infantry, they're caught in the killing field. And, well, they're getting killed.
To know that certain things still continue to be called by the right term here. But a quick barrage, hopefully coming in eventually? No, nothing really yet. There we go. And a massive amount of infantry being brought over here in for Tanner. We actually saw this over here on Tuesday as well. Unfortunately, I don't think he's got the time to have all those guys kind of schlep it on forwards. Again, that's the PBI syndrome going on here.
It's just all these SUs now. Good God. So many SUs. It sucks to be a town as infantry.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. 30 seconds until the end of the game over here. So, sir, in the meantime, as we're kind of having the last few seconds tick down, what's just the momentum thing? You said it stagnated down south. I would say, yeah, potentially there was some momentum lost here. But I think at the big end of the day, it was just a mismatch of weight class. We have a welterweight going up against the heavyweight, and this is what happens.
Yeah, and as Farid's been very good at applying pressure, really at Tanner's most weakest points. And yeah, just all the SUs, all the support guns really comes in clutch. Especially in this map where Toulon does better at like long range engagements. Because the Stugs, packs, the 105s, it's really good for keeping people right at 2 kilometers. When at, you know, at initial push, it's like 500, 1000 meter, like short, medium distances. T-34s, KV-1Ss, that's really shine.
Yes, they do. And you can see it over here in the kills as well. So we have that one issue to 122. Half a dozen infantry squads and the anti-tank gun. If we have this Vedka over here with all his optics. 4 ground kills and a couple of, PBIs. Even the Yak-9 picking up 4 kills. And that's kind of the tail of the tape pretty consistently, is that I have armored fighting vehicles, you have foot sloggers, you have fun, big guy, because it ain't happening anytime soon.
Yeah. I am in the battle box now, and my battle box has machine guns.
Exactly. Exactly. Any final thoughts, sir?
No.
All right. With that in mind, here, folks, in that case, that's going to be it for us for this particular replay. Until next time, I'm Connell Work.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.